The longest-running off-road and action motorsports radio show on the planet is coming to you live with the biggest guest in motorsports. Here is the only man on the planet who can pack this much dirt slinging and tire slaying into 2 hours a week. Sit back, strap in, and be prepared to get your ears blown. Here is Jim Beaver and the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor.
Back here in the saddle once again on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Hopefully you guys had an epic 4th of July. I know I sure as hell did, and man, we are rolling right into some of the best action motorsports radio anywhere in the world right here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show this week. And you know what? We got a stacked guest lineup, and you know what? We're leading things off, I guess, at some point in hour number one. We have Miss Vicki Golden herself. You saw her at Evel Live 2 break the firewall record. Finally catching up with her. You guys are going to enjoy this one. 30 minutes with one of the baddest women to ever set foot on a motorcycle. Vicki Golden, one of my guests this week. Very excited about that. Not only that, but we've got, we're going to go rallycrossing, right? ARX Rallycross. We've got Travis Pecoy. He's going to be calling into the show as well. Steve Arpin's teammate there at Lowenbro. We're going to talk about what's to come at Gateway this weekend. Also, we've got Chris Leone with a big dose of power rankings. Tiffany Stone, she's going to be talking off-road. And, man, what else do we got to throw in? Oh, yeah, a little thing called the Off-Road Motorsports Hall of Fame. Yes, the inductees have been announced. We've got my good friend David Higgins going into the Hall of Fame, only his second ever rally driver to be doing that. Robbie Gordon. We've got, man, Butch Arciero. Just a star-studded list of inductees into the Off-Road Motorsports Hall of Fame. We'll get even further into depth on that and so many other things today on the Down and Dirty Radio Show powered by Polaris Razor. Seriously, it is one epic show. You don't want to go anywhere. We are locked, loaded, and it all starts right after this commercial break. Extreme performance, reliability, and the most fun you can have on four wheels? The Polaris Razor brings it to you. But you don't need to take my word for it. You can take theirs.
I'm Tanner Faust, and I choose the Polaris Razor because it's the most fun you can have with a steering wheel.
What's up? I'm Ronnie Renner, and I choose Polaris Razor because it's the sickest, most reliable side-by-side on the planet.
What's up, everybody? Heavy D from Diesel Brothers. Listen, I'm on Team Razor because it's hands down the best piece of machinery on the planet.
I'm RJ Anderson, and I choose Polaris Razor because it's the most fun, most capable machine.
Action sports stars, TV personalities, and some of the best race car drivers in the world all choose Polaris Razor because it's the ultimate combination of power, suspension, agility, and fun. Find out more information on the web at PolarisRazor.com or follow at Polaris Razor on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and use the hashtag RazorLife to share your story.
Ford WP is more than a store. We're truck and Jeep experts and have been for over 50 years. From wheel and tire upgrades to full custom builds, Ford WP has you covered. Whether you want to order the best parts online or shop in store, do the work yourself, or get it done by a pro, all roads lead to Ford WP. Do your rig right. Shop online or find your store at FordWP.com.
For 100 years, General Tire has provided tires for your lifestyle, your adventure, your anywhere. Born from competition, the Grabber tire offers the durability and off-road traction you demand in a tire. We put these tires to the test in the harshest off-road racing conditions to give you a tire that will make your anywhere possible. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out visionwheel.com or at Vision Wheel on social media to learn more. Super ATV is the industry leader in aftermarket UTV and ATV parts and accessories. Super ATV products are designed, engineered, tested, and manufactured right here by Super ATV. Whether you're looking to upgrade your suspension, get stronger axles, or you're looking for a new winch to get you out of a tough spot, Super ATV has what you're looking for. And since we know you're in a hurry, we offer fast, free shipping to the lower 48 states on all orders. Visit superatv.com now and get your UTV or ATV dialed in.
Like what you hear? Catch all the back episodes of the Down and Dirty Radio Show on Apple Podcast, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
Oh man, that was a hell of a ride. Go check out mymedic.com for the best first aid kits on the planet and save 15% with discount code Jim Beaver. Again, mymedic.com, discount code Jim Beaver, and save 15%. It's cheaper than a funeral.
Well, I'd like to welcome one of my guests this week to the show, Vicki Golden, who, I guess you were solid gold this past weekend, Evel Live too. But Vicki, finally, welcome to the show. I know we've known each other for a while. We've pinged each other and tried to get you on. Sometimes you're in another country, and literally finally able to make it happen. So my apologies for taking this long to get you on air.
Oh, no worries. Stoked to finally make it happen. Better late than never, right?
Yeah, well, and good reason. Obviously, Evel Live 2 happening this past weekend. You are a new world record holder. Man, take us through the build-up to this, because I know, Axel, with everything that happened to him, I know, this was kind of supposed to be a two-part deal where you did your thing, Axel did his, and then, all of a sudden he goes down with injury, and, we're all thankful he's all right, but, you became, the focal point all of a sudden. It was, 100% spotlight on Vicki.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I was actually pretty happy doing this alongside Axel. We were having a blast doing all the media, all the training, everything we pretty much did together. So, you kind of just create that team bond of how everything goes down, So with him getting hurt, especially so last minute, to where, it just, at first it was, I talked with him a little bit and I was like, what, I'll wait. I'll wait until you're healthy and we can do this. And he just said, no, go do it. You never know what could happen. So just, if you're healthy, go do it. So that's kind of what it turned into. And then, it just became, it was just a show for my world record. So it definitely added a lot of pressure very quickly.
Yeah. Well, and do you think and obviously, we know from action sports and racing, you get opportunities, and Axel said, no, go and do it. Show must go on. And I mean, you were willing to wait. And I kind of know you as a person. That's just kind of your personality. You know what I mean? You're kind of selfless, but I know in action sports, I mean, once in a while there's the perfect storm and there's these opportunities, and we all think oh yeah, well, we can go back and do this a year later. Well, technically you can, but you know what I mean? To have live TV and everything lined up, I mean, it's one of those, you almost feel, was there pressure hey, I really do need to go through with this anyways?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, my first priority was, when all this went down is Axel okay? And then the next thing is how bad is it and how long would we have to wait if we did this together? And then obviously Axel said that. So then it went into, okay, let's we have so many people. It's not just me and Axel riding our bikes. It's a whole entire team. I mean, his sponsors were doing so much. My sponsors were doing so much. So it just came down to there's just too much invested, and we're kind of past the point of no return. And, I couldn't do that to, all of my sponsors and risk me not being able to ride, or, we're both getting ready for X Games coming up too. So there's always a possibility of me getting injured. So it was just kind of that what, we have too much into this to not go at all. So, pushing the risk of not even having a show at all. So yeah, we just kind of had to move forward and make it happen.
Well, and how did all this how did this whole brainchild? I've spent enough time around Travis. I think the first time you and I met was in Las Vegas when Travis and Jolene were there. But just the time I've spent around Travis, like I know him. Like I'll throw some wild hair idea out there, and he immediately looks at you like, "Hey, if you want to do this, let's do it." You know, and that's just his style.
For
And
sure.
I'm like, I don't know if I'm quite ready for that, Trav. Let's pump the brakes here. Let me go through the thought process. It's like, no, if you bring it up, it's got to happen. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. Was that kind of where this was, or how did this whole, you know what I mean, this whole world record thing? How did it all get brought to the surface?
First of all, if you're around Trav and have ideas, you keep your mouth shut because that's the safest thing to do. But secondly, yeah, it was. I actually had ideas. I knew that they kind of had things. Well, I thought they had things in place already for Evel Live 2, and I just came to Nitro and said, I have some ideas for Evel Live 3. You know, if we can make these happen, cool. If not, you know, maybe go down a different road or whatnot. And a few weeks later, they came back and said, you know, we loved your ideas for possibly Evel Live 3. What about this for Evel Live 2? And it was the Firewall record. So, of course, you know, I jumped on it. I mean, that was, you know, I was thinking down the road already, and they came back with something, you know, immediately. So, you know, me, I'm down for a good time, and the Firewall record seemed like a good time.
Yeah, well, and is there any point, like, you know, and I know, like, people watching on TV, like, you know what I mean, and stuff like that, like, I can't even comprehend going through 13, you know, walls on fire. And I started looking, I mean, those are legit, you know, it's not like you were, you know, blasting through like paper walls or something. I mean, like there's a lot that goes into this, you know, granted you're not jumping, you know, 300 feet or something like that. But I mean, like there's some really, you know, heavy consequences with something like that. I got to think just like keeping your head up and like keeping straight had to been, you know, that was an accomplishment in itself. Like, I mean, you know, how did you prepare for something like this? Because it is kind of out of the box. It's not something like you practice, you know, it's just like you don't, you know, you just kind of go and do it. Like, I know they showed you busting through one wall, but I mean, how do you prepare for something like this?
Yeah, I mean, it was something hard for me to wrap my head around the danger part. I mean, because I was like, wait, I'm not jumping anything? Because, you know, obviously, like, everything that I do, I know the consequences because I'm high up in the air. So for this, I'm like, well, you know, I'm just going to be on the ground? Like, how hard can it be? And then we quickly realized that, yeah, once you throw fire into the mix, it makes things, you know, you know the danger of it. So once the fire came into play, yeah, it changed everything. I did maybe 5 walls with no fire, and I could see, you know, I didn't really struggle too bad. And as soon as we started lighting them on fire, yeah, it made things a bit more challenging. Just because the fire one, you have the heat, get hot spots on your body, and then what we didn't realize fast was all the smoke and the heat that was getting into my helmet so fast. I was like 3 walls in, and my eyes would start to burn. So, yeah, just a lot of things with fire that it seems obvious, but when you're trying stuff like this, you don't really think about it. So, yeah, we kind of found a handful of things that we had to figure out how to change and alter, and it kind of came down to the wire of doing it like 2 days before the show.
Yeah. Well, I was wondering, like, when you start going through there, obviously you've got to, it's a long distance. Like, you got to take a breath at some point. I mean, do you hold your breath as long as possible before you take a breath type of thing?
Basically, I mean, that's what they told me. They said you cannot breathe while you're in there. So if you need to take a breath before, or you can chance it and take a breath right before you hit your next wall. That's like the safest point to breathe. Because as soon as you go through it, the fire stays with you, kind of in like a whirlpool almost. So It stays with you and then dissipates while it right before you hit the next wall, it dissipates enough to where you could take a breath. But it was about, I think, 500 feet long is what we kind of set it at.
Yeah.
So at first I was nervous, but then I kind of went back to my racing background, and I'm like, well, you know, I did these minute lap times in Supercross, and I'm pretty sure I held my breath the entire time. So I'm like, I think I got it. I think we'll be all right.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't even think about that, but I didn't think there's probably points in the race car when it's intense and you're getting ready to make a pass and things like that where you're not even thinking about breathing. And I swear, now that you mentioned that, I'm like, there's probably times in a race car where I hold my breath for a minute or something like that, and you don't even realize it just because things are in the moment. So you put it in perspective like that. I'm like, yeah, probably truth right there, like hard truth.
Yeah, exactly. Like before, because I've got basically zero airflow into my helmet, and I'm wearing a hood over my face, so there wasn't much that I couldn't breathe. Like, so sitting there waiting to go, I was literally like hyperventilating and trying not to like pass out because there's just zero airflow in my helmet. And then I'm like, as soon as I got going, I just didn't even notice. But yeah, just same deal. Once you get in the moment, you don't even think about it.
Yeah. Well, and I noticed, like, when you got done, like, the first thing, it wasn't celebrate, it wasn't anything. It was like, get the helmet off. I need this thing off my head.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't have any airflow, and they had a strict policy that, as soon as I stop, we make sure that, obviously the fire is the most important thing. So they wanted to make sure I didn't have any hot spots. I didn't burn my lungs, didn't take in any smoke or anything like that. So safety was the priority there. So once we did all the safety checks, then I was good to celebrate.
Yeah. So I know you'd mentioned, it's funny because you're like, it's hard to keep track of you. And I know at one point we were trying, I think like last year, to get you on for an interview or something. And you were like, I can't remember. I can't remember if it was Australia or New Zealand. You were traveling somewhere and all over the place, but you're already mentioning X Games, and I think we're like only a couple of weeks out from X. Like, you're just bam, bam, on to the next thing. Like, X Games coming up. We got to talk about that. I mean, what disciplines are you in? Obviously whip again, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I got invited for Best Whip this year, and I'm first alternate for Step Up right now.
Nice. Step Up, that one, I know I've talked with Renner at length, and he's like, that's one you don't even train for. He's like, I just go in and do it every year because he's like, you're just going to hurt yourself if you train for it. He's like, seriously. He's like, it's just, like, it's so painful. He's like, that's the one event I absolutely love doing, and he's like, I absolutely hate doing it at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had much experience at it. I did I think the one and done X Games Step Up qualifier they had right before I qualified for my first Supercross, and I did that the night before, and I'd never have done it before. Showed up on my 450 that I wasn't riding at all. I just sat there and loaded it up and went over to, I think it was the New Orleans Stadium, and started, like, that was my first and only attempt at it, and I ended up being really good at it, and I think I almost qualified. Just had a bad mistake where I cross-threaded up the face and almost missed the entire landing, but that pretty much took me out of that. But I felt good on it, and that was only one day, so I think we're gonna practice a little bit, but I think it's to the point where that Renner Byton no practice, show up and send it is kind of, unfortunately, it's out the window. I mean, you see Renner's actually building a step-up whip to practice. Yeah. McNeil has a step-up whip, and he's practicing. I think that show up and send it is about out the window, and I don't think that's going to work anymore. So you have to come prepared. I mean, these dudes mean business. They're ready to send it. And, yeah, so, I mean, I never want to get hurt or never want to get in because someone got hurt, but yeah, so hopefully I can, something happens. Maybe at least someone just missed their flight or something. I don't know. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm gonna practice for it and just stay sidelines if that's the case. Still the best whip. So I'm totally happy to go there and just throw some whips and have a relaxed kind of weekend there instead of you throw Step Up into it and it's just everything gets very stressful. So I'm kind of okay being on the bubble, so I don't really have to think about it too much. I already know how to throw whips, so then it comes down to just a couple weeks of riding with everyone, having fun, throwing some whips, and then showing up, and it's a little bit more relaxed, whether all the other categories are pretty stressful.
Yeah, well, and with whip, is there ever a point when you've thrown one of those? Because I swear sometimes, I start watching that on X Games, and I'm like, you guys go so far, I'm like, there's no way you're going to bring it back. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, like, it just comes back, but it almost looks like you're full on like 180 or something, it's like, how do you, something like that, is that like kind of the process? Like, let's take this as far as we possibly can and then, and then try and bring it back at the last second, because you guys are pushing those things so far to win that competition,
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, there definitely have been dudes, and it sounds crazy to say, like crashing, and the trick you crashed on was a whip, and that's like pretty unheard of, especially in our game when there's so many gnarlier tricks. But these guys are sending it, and that's pretty much what it comes down to, is like you're trying to hold it, backwards, upside down, as long as you can, and then bring it back last minute. So that's kind of what it turns into. But it's almost like any other trick, especially when you're practicing, is that you just try and keep scaring yourself into that point to where it's not scary anymore, and then that becomes your natural, whip. And that's kind of the same thing with tricks that I'm learning for the first time, even where I don't want to do something because it's scary and I don't like it, but I do it enough, and then, that's your new norm. So that's kind of the same thing with whip, is we're just trying to huck ourselves as big as possible and scare ourselves as many times as we can, so when we show up, our whips are big enough for a medal. So it's pretty much what happens.
Well, and do you feel like one thing I've always I love about what you've done, and I've tried to do it in the off-road space, but I feel like you put yourself out there, and whether it be, you've raced Supercross and Moto and Arena Cross, and, obviously you've got freestyle and you've done some flat tracking. Do you try and put yourself out of your comfort zone in these different disciplines? Just one, it keeps riding a bike interesting, I'm sure, but two, I feel like you probably got to be learning something every time you kind of take yourself out of your element, right?
Absolutely. That's what the sport's all about, is just making sure that you're at the top of your game. And the only way to be at the top of your game is to, once again, just keep scaring yourself, because that's the only way you're going to get better.
Yeah. Well, all that being said, obviously I know, I think, really kind of the first time I'd heard about you for a long time, but really took notice of when you were trying to qualify in there at Supercross. But you know what I mean? Now you've kind of gone, and I know you're doing some touring and things like that. Moving forward, you've got all these opportunities. I'm assuming now the talk is already Evel Live 3. What are we going to get Vicki to do this next time? Where are you kind of happy? Where do you want to go with this? Or are you just kind of happy, kind of picking and choosing here and there and going all over the place?
I'm pretty happy. After such a terrible year last year of being on the couch day in and day out, of just sitting with an ankle injury that I wasn't sure was going to be even good enough to ride a dirt bike again, to go into this year and have complete 3 tours, stay healthy, get invited to X, be able to do this for Evel Live 2. And it just, so many things are clicking off, and just, it's like the year I wanted to have last year, and I had all these ideas last year, all the things that I wanted to do, and I just don't know if I'd even be able to do them. So it's just kind of, I'm glad I'm picking up where I left off, and I'm ready for whatever gets thrown at me. I definitely have plenty more ideas for world's first, world records, and we're gonna keep chasing as long as I'm healthy.
Yeah. Well, and, talking about touring and stuff like that, I got to think, when you're on tour and you're hitting that same ramp, night after night, week after week, is that really where, you get to really start experimenting? You know what I mean? Because you get so comfortable in the setup and things like that. Is that where you really kind of start, pushing things because you're hitting it? It's repetition, right? Time after time. Is that really where you start getting innovative?
It's actually kind of the opposite, just because we only get maybe 30-minute practice before the show starts, and then the show is pretty much choreographed start to finish. So you do all the tricks, it's already kind of set out in the tricks you're going to do for the night. So there's not really any time to better yourself. It's actually harder when you're on tour to better yourself and practice and do it that way, because you're just so limited on the time. So it's actually really, really hard to progress in that state. But I made it a goal this last tour to try and learn a new trick almost every weekend, and pretty much did that, either if it was the week leading up to it or even the practice before the show. I just went quickly through the tricks I knew I had to do in the show, and then I would go into learning a new trick instead. So I was pretty stoked on able to just be able to learn a new trick each weekend, because it's so hard when we're just really limited on ramp time and bike time even.
Yeah. Well, and I got to ask, obviously, you're just killing it on two wheels, but I'm looking at like most of the FMX guys, and I would say girls, but that like consists of you and Jolene. But
Yeah.
it's one of those, like, I've seen everybody kind of move to four wheels a bit too and start playing. Travis, I mean, I brought Jolene into some Razor stuff, and Deegan, he's moved into four wheels and various different disciplines and stuff like that. Is there like an itch on your part to like, hey, I would like to go and do something in one of these Razors or something like that?
No, absolutely. I'm down for anything that's supposed to be sketchy and dangerous and and a good time. So whatever it is, I'll probably be down for it. I haven't really spent much time on four wheels, so it definitely is an avenue I haven't taken. But I didn't really spend much time on street motorcycles either. And now I've done flat track and then this, so there's always an opportunity for it, that's for sure.
Yeah, and the first time you're on a flat track bike, because I've never actually ridden one. I mean, I've been on plenty of dirt bikes and stuff, and and street bikes. But like when you went and did flat track, I mean, was that like completely out of your element, or is there a lot of dirt bike stuff that transitions into that? You know what I mean? Or was that one of those like, oh, I got to relearn everything I knew?
It's kind of tough. I feel like you need bike skill, but flat track is a lot different. One, they take off the front brake, and I'm big on front brake. So that's like the first big sketchy part, is I just didn't have a front brake. So, and then just trusting this beast of a motorcycle to pitch it sideways. So yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. And it's tough for me too, just to do all that flat track stuff, because I just don't have, from my injury, I don't have much feeling in the bottom of my foot. So like rear brake is pretty foreign to me now, because I don't know how much I'm on it, or if I'm on it at all. So that kind of makes things a lot difficult for me, just because I don't know, and I'm still making mistakes with that. A couple times I've caught myself kind of dragging on the front brake off the ramp and not knowing it until last minute, and kind of having to quickly like get off of it and kind of gas a bit more. So yeah, there's just sketchy points in it for me, but it's still fun. I'm still smiling ear to ear with just even whatever puts me on a motorcycle. I'm stoked to be on it.
Yeah, you're just like, I just want to ride. I don't care what it is.
Yeah, I don't care what I look like, what I'm doing. I'm having fun on a dirt bike, no matter what it is or what I'm doing.
Yeah. Well, I got to ask too. I went onto your Instagram profile real quick before we jumped on. Did you see like a massive spike over that whole TV deal, like in Instagram followers this past weekend, or what? Like I looked, and I don't know what yours was before, but I'm like, damn, Vicki's got a legit following on Instagram.
Yeah, all of a sudden it spiked out pretty quick. I was blown away. I don't know. I'm super humble. I love, if you can tell on my Instagram, all I post about is dirt bikes, because that's literally all I do. That's what I have the most fun on, and that's what my life is surrounded on. So yeah, I don't even notice that part of it, but that was pretty crazy to just watch it spike within a day. I think I got maybe like 10,000 for the day or something, which is pretty unheard of. And even like the build up before it was just climbing like 1,000 a day. It was crazy. So, I mean, it's just really cool to see how many people in the industry, and even outside our industry, which is our main goal for action sports, is to get it into the real world. And that's the best part about Evel Live and Evel Live 2, as it's putting action sports into the real world, which is so hard to do these days. And that's where we want to take it. And, with history and Nitro and Trav being on board with all of this, that's what we get to do, is bring our sport into the real world.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the thing I really like about what you did with the firewall, because I think like people can't comprehend really, like they see the distances of jumps, but I don't think they really can comprehend what it's like to jump that far. I know I can't, you know what I mean? Like I've jumped off-road trucks a ways, but I think with that, like people saw the boards, they know how thick they are. They know what it would feel like to run into a wall. They know how hot fire is. and then for you to do it 13 times, like I think it put it into perspective. Like people could appreciate what you did, because I feel like that's one of those few stunts where people could actually put themselves in your shoes and kind of know what you were going through, and I don't feel like with jumps they can. I felt like with that though, people understood it,
Yeah, exactly. I think if anything, our industry maybe wouldn't understand it as much, because they're like, oh, well, you're not jumping. It's not, and that's how I was when I first started doing it. I'm like, I'm not jumping anything. Like, how is this supposed to be cool? How is this supposed to be exciting and dangerous? And I didn't exactly wrap my head around it until, you put it in that perspective to where we're not doing this for the moto industry. We're doing this for the world. And the world doesn't understand, like you said, what it feels like to jump over 300 feet. It's a feeling that you have to do it yourself. Like even when I jump a 120 ramp, it feels like the thing has no pop. So it's even hard for me to put myself in actual shoes, because I can't even imagine how flat that ramp feels to go that far. So yeah, that's what I think that our industry had a hard time wrapping their head around, was the danger, and they think it's easy because we're not jumping, but when you put it in the perspective of the entire world, and that's what we're aiming to do, and that's what I think came across, is because it's super relatable. In all my interviews, I was like, well, if you're doing like renovations at your house and you wanted to go through one of your drywalls, go head first, and that's kind of what it'd feel like. So then they can kind of relate, and that's kind of what I think the industry and the real world gap is. But, everyone's, from Nitro saying the ratings are coming in now and it's looking great. So the whole goal out of this was to hopefully continue and hopefully come back for next year for an Evel Live 3. So that's our biggest goal, of course, is to keep being able to break these records and do it for the entire world.
Yeah. Well, and I know me as a fan, the thing that has me excited, and I know, knowing Travis really well, and like what blows me away is you can do these things, and it's like now you're going to do Evel Live 3, so it's like everything has to be stepped up a notch. And then that's what like blows my mind. It's like, all right, so we're doing this, like what's next? And there's always got to be a what's next, because you've got to one up yourself every single time. And it's like, to me, it just blows my mind, because I have no idea what Evel Live 3 is going to be, but I know it's going to be off the chain.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, we don't have anything set in stone for an Evel Live 3, but knowing us that we're going to try and make it happen no matter what we can do, whether we, have it on TV or not. Hopefully we do. I'm sure we'll continue with history, but I'm excited to hopefully get together with everyone and throw some more ideas around and see what we can do to just keep this ball rolling and to keep these records from, setting this bar as high as we can.
Yeah. So one last question before we let you go, Vicki. I know, like, in the back of your mind, you've always had, like, this unicorn trick, like, at some point you want to pull. Like, is there anything now where it's like, all right, so we've done this Evel Live 3, like, I've got, Best Whip coming up, but I really want to put some time in and learn something, maybe make a trip to Trav's house out in Maryland. Like, is there that unicorn trick? You don't have to tell me what it is, but is there, like, something in the back of your brain where you're just like, yeah, at some point I need to learn this and blow everybody's minds?
Oh man, I have at least 5 in my head.
Oh.
I have a lot of ideas that I want to do, and originally I was going to fly home from New Zealand before I knew about Evel Live 2. I was going to fly home and get to work and have this. I was planning to do it all within these couple months, but with Evel Live 2, obviously the first rule was don't get hurt. So that kind of put that to the side. So we're going to just kind of get to work and see what we can bust out and see how many world firsts we can get by the end of the year, I guess.
All right. Well, I appreciate the time, Vicki. Always fun catching up. And I don't know, we got to circle back at some point. Maybe I'll get Jolene out of, like, Razor retirement and get you out, and we need to go, like, run an off-road race together or something like that. We got to get you behind the wheel in some kind of desert car.
Absolutely. I'm not very good, probably. I'll probably break a lot of stuff, but we'll have a good time.
Yeah. Well, what we'll do is we'll get you up to Dirtfish beforehand, like we did with Jolene, and then you can spend some time in rally cars, and then we'll get you in the Razor.
That'd probably be a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe teach me some stuff before I break all your stuff.
Yeah. All right. Well, always fun, Vicki. Thank you, and congrats on on the massive weekend there with Evel Live 2.
Thank you, man. I'm stoked to be on the show.
And we'll be back after this on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Are you looking for a place to push yourself behind the wheel and see how your driving skills stack up? Dirtfish Rally School is that place. Located on 315 acres of pristine automotive playground at the foot of the Cascade Mountains in Snoqualmie, Washington, right outside of Seattle, Dirtfish Rally School is a one-of-a-kind place where everyone from first-time drivers to seasoned professionals like Bucky Lassick and Antoine Lestage can push themselves to their limit. Whether driving the high-performance rally-prepped all-wheel drive Subaru Impreza STI is what you're looking for, or you'd rather hang it all out in the rear-wheel drive Subaru BRZs, Dirtfish Rally School has something for everyone. Classes are available from 2 hours to 3 full days and feature instructors with over 150 years of combined racing experience. Whether you're looking to become the best and get an edge on the competition, or just looking to freshen your skills behind the wheel, Dirtfish Rally School is the place to go. For more information on registering for classes, visit Dirtfish on the web at dirtfish.com, or to check out the latest happenings from Dirtfish, follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dirtfish Rally.
Thanks for tuning in to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, available live online, in syndication on networks across the U.S., and available internationally on the American Forces Network.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Jim Beaver, along with my good friend Tiffany Stone, who I don't know who had more fun this past week, T-Stone. I was on a lake in Minnesota. You were in the dunes, Silver Lake sand dunes. I don't know. I'm going to say we're going to call this a draw because I've never been to Silver Lake sand dunes. So I'm saying we're going to call this like I don't know. We drew even over the weekend. I don't know on who had the better time. Was that safe?
It could be safe, but if I didn't also spend time at the lake. So I also spent time at a lake in Michigan and then also went to the sand dunes because Michigan is just badass like that.
All right. I'm going to give this one to you. This weekend's going to go to T-Stone because you had to pull the lake card also. But I guess we'll side with you on this one. But yeah, I gotta at some point I gotta get Silver Lake sand dunes because seeing your pictures and stuff like that. Like, to me, it's just mind blowing that place is actually in Michigan. To be honest with you, like, I think of Michigan and I think of like snow and ice hockey and like literally snow and ice hockey, and like here's sand dunes. Like, what gives?
No, it's honestly Michigan is one of the coolest spots that I've ever really got a chance to visit. What I like about Michigan is, one, we have all 4 seasons, so we have a true spring, summer, our fall, winter. And then what else I like about it is Michigan, is a peninsula pretty much, and we're coastal on all 3 sides. And then what else I like about it too is if you have visited the East Coast, you know that the East Coast of the United States is very fast. It's like get up, New York mindset, doing all those things. And then you have the West Coast of the United States, which is California. It's like low-key, beachy, kind of slower pace with everything. And that honestly is how Michigan is. If you go to the east side of Michigan with Detroit, it's just fast-paced, bigger city, kind of go in, move, motor city. And then when you go to the west side of the state, like South Haven, Grand Haven, Traverse City, Muskegon, it's very beachy. And then it's kind of low-key with all the sunsets. So that's what I like so much about it.
Yeah, I love Traverse City. I love it except for in January when they tell you that you're going to be stuck in Traverse City for an entire week because all the plane flights, yours gets canceled, and everything's booked for a week. And they go, yeah, you're going to be here a week. And I'm like, looking, I'm like, for real? They're like, yeah. And we got a blizzard, and you're going to be stuck here for a week. The soonest we can get you out, this is on a Monday, was like the next Sunday. And I'm like, seriously? Love Traverse City now? I hate you.
Yeah, I guess that could be with any city that has snow in the middle of January, because the spring and the summer and the fall colors are beautiful. I wish that you could have been stuck during fall colors, because then you could have went out and there's actually like a color tour where you can see all the different color foliage from the trees and whatnot.
Yeah. Well, I got to see the entire lower peninsula of Michigan. Literally, They told me that at the airport. It was like 9 a.m. on a Sunday, and I looked at them like, this isn't happening. I'm like, rent me a car. They're like, there's a blizzard going on. We can't rent you a car. I'm like, rent me a car. And they're like, we're going to force you to get the insurance. I said, okay, give me the insurance on the car. I said, give me a four-wheel drive. So they gave me an Escape four-wheel drive, and I drove from Traverse City to Chicago in a blizzard, and it took me from 9 a.m. until literally like 11 o'clock that night to get to Chicago. And I can't tell you that I saw one thing the entire time other than white. And I drove down the middle of the interstate, and there wasn't one car that I passed in like 13, 14 hours on the road because literally I was the only fool on the interstate. But, yeah, I saw the entire lower part of Michigan in a blizzard because they told me I was going to be stuck in Traverse City for a week.
I actually feel like I've heard this story before, and I think that's pretty cool, especially because you get all the lake effects. So you are officially T-Stone approved badass now for doing that. Good job, Jim.
Would have been better if I had your red Jeep, let me tell you, but just saying. Oh, so yeah, tell me about Silver Lake Sand Dunes. Like obviously I've been out to Glamis. We've got some sand dunes here in Parker. Like I have been in my fair share of sand dunes in my life, but is it like big? Is it extensive, or is it like really small and everybody packs into like one run, Tiff?
No, it is huge. What I like so much about it is if you've actually been there, you're going to notice how big, obviously everybody has flags. So the feet tall from where you are, where your Jeep is, or wherever you put it, but it's 10 feet tall, and that goes to show you how big the dunes actually, are. And I will say this, it's only been my second trip there, and, for anybody who's driven on sand, it's completely different, especially with lifted vehicles, bigger tires, it's so different. I've actually never have done the big dune up front, and I actually did it this week. I was so nervous because everybody watches you. So you drive in, everybody's lined up, and it's on the left, and they all line up there and watch everybody go up the first dune. And then there proceeds to be 6 or 7 more after, but the first one is always the biggest. And if you don't make it up, you have to slowly come back, and everybody watches you. And then every time that happens, I'm like, oh, they're so close.
That's
womp, womp, and then they all come down.
It's like the walk of shame, right? Everybody's looking like, oh, yeah. That's got to be literally, that's the walk of shame, having to back down the dunes, right, in front of everybody, and then you get there, and it's just like nobody, there's probably that awkward moment when you get out of your car where everybody's looking like, what do we say? Like, do we make fun? Do we I don't know, it's full-on walk of shame right there if you don't make it up the dunes, I'm thinking.
Oh, no, and it's awesome. And so it's 2,000 acres. This is how big it is. It's 2,000 acres. There's sand. It's on Lake Michigan. And then there's 690, you have a shoreline, 600. And it's amazing. It's beautiful. It's awesome. And what's so cool about it is you watch the sunset over there. You have the dunes. You can go hang out in Lake Michigan, except the water was frigid because it's been so cold with so much rain. It's awesome. I did that. I actually, if you saw Instagram, I drove through a puddle, and it was just so funny to do it. And you hear me yell woo at the end because I'm so excited.
It's just funny because it's actually a rad video, but it's funny the way that you're like, yeah, I drove through a puddle. Like, people listening are like, what? You drove through a puddle? Like, what the hell? Like, I don't think you painted the picture right for that one, Tiff. Like, you're just like, yeah, I drove through a puddle. Like, what?
Well, then now that means everybody has to go watch it and comment because I guess it's not a puddle. There was a lot of water. Just the way that I hit it, it was a larger body of water, but right in the middle, it kind of rose. So I was able to just kind of drive over it and not sink too much, but it was fun. And then after that, we did some racing, some drag racing in my stock 3.6 Jeep. It was the funniest thing in the world, but we all had fun because it's just a bunch of old Jeeps. And there's a Jeep Grand Cherokee out there, like a stock one, trying to drag race. So I'm like, okay, let's go see what we can do. It's funny.
Nice. Well, I haven't even talked about this on air. You got your Jeep, you did your build. I actually, I haven't even mentioned this on air, but I just bought a Raptor and getting ready to do a build on that. I got some rad partners involved in the Raptor, so I'm kind of excited to get that thing done. So then I can actually go out and do a little bit more wheeling than I have been. Obviously, I got the Razors and stuff like that, but it's fun once in a while just to have a big truck or a Jeep or something like that to kind of go and just kind of bounce around in.
No, exactly. And this time was the first time I took off all the doors and the top. So it was completely bare. It was really cool. It was the first time I've done it. And when you're trying to do all these things, when you're new to it, it takes time and you're like, okay, do I know how to do this? Do I know how to do that? And it's just, I've been having a lot of fun. It's been a year since I've had my Jeep and getting geared up to do some more things. Actually, tomorrow, heading over to get a new kicker audio system installed. So I'm pretty excited about that, especially now with the summer, being able to take the top off, hoping for some extra sound through that. So I'm excited about everything.
I think your Jeep's like a full-on addiction. Like you did your original build for SEMA or whatever, and it's like a rabbit hole. Like you just keep, oh yeah, we're adding rigid lights, we're adding kicker. Oh, I'm gonna put 37s on it at some point. Like you're so into this Jeep rabbit hole, Tiff. Like I don't know if there's ever pulling you out of this thing.
No, I think what I'm going to do is just the way that it's built up right now, build it up, do everything, and then I'll probably either sell it all, because I don't have any of the stock parts anymore, so I'll either sell it as it is and start something new, or I'll just completely keep transforming it, because to me, it's like you have this and you can kind of transform whatever you want. If I want to change the bumpers or change the winch or change wheels, I could lift it up a little bit, take it back down, do the interior. Now I'm starting to get some more of the interior stuff that I want done and figure out some more, not overlanding compartments, but like more of storage and have this and just having everything right there and nice to go. Because I have that fridge freezer. So it's really nice to be able to travel with that. I just want to add some more components.
That's rad. That's like my favorite part of your whole Jeep is the fridge freezer. That thing is awesome. Like I need that in my life.
Do you know what it's like to be stuck on a trail for like 10, 12 hours with nothing around and you're like, something cold or fresh fruit. And so that thing stays cold the whole time. And what I like about it is I could either keep it on when the vehicle's completely off, or I'll just, if I start the car every time it starts. So what I've been doing now is, not necessarily starting my vehicle, but just turning on aux 1, then it starts up the whole thing. It's running off battery. It'll cool it all down. So when I put all my stuff in there, it'll stay cold. So I really like that feature of the certain things. And not that I want to go more overlanding, but I kind of want to add some different products.
Yeah, no, I get that. I totally get that. I feel like now it's to the point like you're going to go so far with this Jeep. It's like you're going to need another Jeep that's just kind of like stock wheels and tires. It's like your daily driver cruise around Jeep, and then like you've got this one when you want to go out and do hardcore wheeling. I feel like you're going to get to the point where you're going to need 2 Jeeps in your life, Tiff.
I will, but that's why I have the 300. So I have my 300S that I put on 20s from Vision, which I really like too, and the T1 Toyo tires on there, which is immaculate. So that's more of like my everyday daily driver, because I have snowshoes for them too. So I have all some snow tires for my 300 that if I do want to drive in the winter, plus my Jeep. But I think what I'm going to go next to is I really want to get like a muscle car type deal, or a truck, one of those. I just want a fast sports car or fast muscle car to kind of add to it. Because, being from the Motor City, it's all about that. The whole Mopar, no car, and different things. And when I worked for Mopar Motorsports, what was so awesome is obviously everybody's heard of the 426 Hemi, the big Hemi, everything that it has. And I actually got to meet Tom Hoover, who created the 426 Hemi, and being able to talk to somebody who had so many different ideas and built such an iconic motor, it's just awesome. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Or I want to do a 392 supercharged swap into my Jeep.
Yeah, which is funny. Most people would, like, literally, if they met you on the street, they would like totally look at you and be like, "Oh yeah, she owns a BMW. Like she drives a BMW or something like that." Here's you, be like, "No, I got a Jeep on 37s. I got a Hellcat with 700 horsepower in the garage." Like that's so you. Like people would see you and they would immediately be like, "Oh yeah, she's a BMW. She's a BMW like Valley Girl type of girl." And like you're like, "Nah, hell no. We're getting like 700 horsepower supercharged here."
That's what I was thinking. And honestly, I'm thinking about going to the Hellcat or the Demon they had that new Elephant one that's coming out, and that's 1,000 horsepower new motor. And that's really where it is. And what people don't know is they're like, oh, I just thought you were into off-road. I thought you were into this. But no, I grew up in the Motor City. So I grew up with the Woodward Dream Cruise, having all those iconic muscle cars, having the Barracudas out there, having what really was a Charger, because Chargers back in the day weren't four-door vehicles. Chargers were two-door vehicles that looked like a Challenger of this day, and the Challengers actually look like the Barracudas. And so it's kind of cool to see all that. And then you didn't know about it. Chrysler had such an array of type of vehicles. Like, one of my favorite vehicles was the La Femme, and it was a 1960s vehicle that was specifically catered towards women, that when you pulled out from the glove box, there was actually like a compact disc so you could do your makeup and stuff, and it was done in pink. So like that's where I came from, and so it's so cool to see some of that like iconic history.
That's crazy. Yeah, well, we're at 14 minutes. I don't know what the hell we've talked about other than horsepower and Jeeps and sand dunes and I don't know, all kinds of radness today, but always fun having you on the line, T-Stone, and I'm sure we'll do it again next week.
Stay tuned.
And we'll be back after this on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty Radio Show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it, so when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our Razor vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of Razor vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a Razor 170 like me, take the entire family out in a Razor XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new Razor XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris Razor. Check out the full Polaris Razor lineup at Polaris.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor. Anywhere is possible. It's more than just a slogan. Anywhere is possible with General Tire's wide variety of tires for whatever it is that you drive. Whether you're looking for off-road capability balanced with impressive on-road performance or ultra-high performance offering all-season traction designed with a driving enthusiast in mind, General Tire has what you need to get where you're going. General Tire, providing anywhere is possible with the Down and Dirty Radio Show since 2012. Do you race or are you a weekend warrior? Have you checked on the date on your helmet recently? Don't get caught off guard by using an outdated helmet. Impact Racing, the leader in motorsport safety, has new SA 2015 helmets to fit your budget. Whether you're looking for a helmet with a full carbon fiber shell to take you to victory at the Indy 500, or just looking for some helmets for a weekend at Glamis, Impact Racing has a helmet for you. Find out more information at impactraceproducts.com or on Facebook at Impact Safety. When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out visionwheel.com or at Vision Wheel on social media to learn more. Super ATV is the industry leader in aftermarket UTV and ATV parts and accessories. Super ATV products are designed, engineered, tested, and manufactured right here by Super ATV. Whether you're looking to upgrade your suspension, get stronger axles, or you're looking for a new winch to get you out of a tough spot, Super ATV has what you're looking for. And since we know you're in a hurry, we offer fast, free shipping to the lower 48 states on all orders. Visit superatv.com now and get your UTV or ATV dialed in.
You're listening to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. All killer and no filler.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Jim Beaver, joined on the line by my media director, Mr. Chris Leone, who, before we get into things, Chris, I know it's a packed show, so I'm not going to have a ton of time to talk about this today in my other segments. Man, iRacing, we kicked things off. We had this big announcement. You and I have been working towards this thing. You've actually been working towards it. I've just kind of been nodding my head and saying, yes, go, Chris. Man, we are in iRacing. We had our race last night. If you're tuning in, I don't know when you're tuning in, but the race was actually last night. Tuesday. I'm going to have to trim that out. I just started choking. Oh, man. Yeah, the race was Tuesday the 9th. And, man, I got to say, we launched things out. Michael Garreglia, he had a pretty solid effort there for us right out of the box, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely, Jim. I mean, it's, as somebody who's been following along with all of the iRacing World Championships all year, I mean, the Peak Series has just put on a hell of a show every single weekend. Or every single week, rather. You've got guys going 3-4 wide on tracks that you would never expect people to be going 3-4 wide on. But, launching the Jim Beaver Esports team, pretty good first showing. Mike Gariglia running up towards the top 10. I saw Eric J. Smith moving up through the field towards the beginning as well. First caution happening during green flag pit stops, I think, messed with a lot of people's races, but definitely made a splash. A lot of people, it seems like, we're talking about the new team, and it's always exciting to see organizations moving into esports, and I know that is not the extent of your plans in esports, so it's going to be a real exciting next few months as some more things roll out.
Yeah, it's going to be like you said, you and I have talked. We got a lot of plans. I've actually had a lot of people reach out to me too about sponsoring teams and stuff like that already. So it was like one of those, oh, you're into this. Okay, well, let me send you my marketing deck. So we'll see what happens. I'm not saying, please, if you're listening to this, don't immediately send me your marketing deck. But if you want to reach out to me or DM me on social media, and you've got the credentials, maybe Chris and I will look at things and maybe we'll do something with you. But, anyways, big thanks to iRacing for doing that. I know we'll give it one other plug here, but I know iRacing, obviously we've got that podcast on our network now. Chris, you're part of that podcast. I've looked. That's on actually in the new and noteworthy on the automotive side of things. So I know iTunes giving us some love there. Numbers have been pretty solid.
Yeah, and doing the iRacing Downshift with Greg and Kevin has just been a ton of fun. It's super different. It's certainly way out of my comfort zone. I'm used to coming in as kind of an expert on motorsports with you, and I'm not used to being the guy who has to carry anything, really. It's not my show, and coming in and us just kind of being the three hosts, and Greg definitely leads it, but Kevin and I, obviously, we all just kind of have our strengths, and I try to be the guy who lays in the back, maybe does a little bit of the off-road stuff and the NASCAR stuff, but it's been a really cool dynamic. We try to tape them just about every week. There are going to be some interviews, some big interviews that are coming up, and it's going to be cool to be able to share those when they come out. I know that the first guest on that show is going to make a big splash. I'm sworn to secrecy at this point, but it's going to be somebody who's really meaningful in the sim racing community.
Nice. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to that. But you and I, we got a short segment today, so we need to get rolling here with our power rankings for the week. So, yeah, we got to get rolling with power rankings here, Chris. This week, we had some NASCAR on, going on, NHRA, Pro Motocross. So I guess we'll get rolling with things. Who did you have at number 5?
Well, Jim, number 5, Eli Tomac. There was no way I could leave Redbud off of my power rankings list. I mean, it's just too iconic of an event. And I know Dylan Ferrandis had the 1-1 in the 250 class, but Eli Tomac with the 1-2 in the 450 and just continuing to build his lead in that championship. I've got to have Eli on my list. He's my number 5.
Yeah, and I honestly, I had a little inner turmoil over my number 5 because I didn't know whether Tomac with a 1 and 2 in the overall victory, or if I went with Ferrandis because he did go 1 and 1 and he beat Adam Cianciarulo, who's having that amazing season. I didn't know which way to go, and you know what? I ended up going with Ferrandis at my number 5, strictly because my theme of things this year, to be the man, you got to beat the man. Ferrandis took down the number 1 guy, hands down, in the 250 class, so I rolled with Ferrandis at number 5.
Absolutely, Jim. I mean, like you said, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And rolling into my number 4, there is nobody who's been doing a better job of beating the man right now than Mazda and IMSA. Pair of back-to-back 1-2 finishes, both of their cars have taken a victory now. 55, I believe, won at Watkins Glen, and the 77 headed north of the border to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park and took that team's second victory in a row. So I've got Mazda, the team as a whole, at my number 4.
Yeah, I didn't put Mazda on my list, and I don't know why. Mainly because I don't know. Mazda and Tomac were my honorable mentions for the week. I will say that, but I had to throw one of our guests this week, good friend of mine. I had to throw a lady onto the list. Number 4, my good friend Vicki Golden, who took on Evel Live. She carried the show because of the injury to Axel Hodges. I mean, this girl had 90 minutes of mainstream TV. Vicki Golden, going through 13 firewalls, beating the record. I had to throw Vicki Golden on my list. There's no way I had to leave her off, so I had Vicki at number 4.
A well-deserved number 4, Jim. And, it's amazing the amount of preparations that stunt riders go through to have something like that go smoothly and look almost effortlessly. And, one of the biggest things is you got to protect your melon. You can't smash your melon. But my number 3 is professional melon smasher and Xfinity Series winner Ross Chastain. Took the victory for Colleague Racing, that team's first victory in that series. It was a great night for them. They crossed the line 1, 2, 3. One of the cars got DQ'd in tech, but still, Ross Chastain having an amazing season, feel-good victory. I've got a Melon Man at number 3.
Yeah. My number 3, I am going to go to New England. I knew you were out there, Chris, but my number 3, taking 3 straight at New England, his second win on the year. Guy we haven't talked about a lot this year, and especially on power rankings, but a guy you definitely don't want to run into in a dark alley because I've got a feeling he would rip your head off. Matt Hagan, he is coming in at number 3 on my list.
Did you see his mustache this weekend, Jim? He had the nice little Hulk Hogan, Gary Selzy thing going on, and he's actually my number 2 because, again, Matt Hagan just absolutely dominates the funny car class at New England. Like you said, 3 wins in a row. Actually, it's the 4th win in a row for Don Schumacher Racing at New England, so they have just really owned that track recently. But well-deserved number 2 on my list, I feel, for Matt Hagan.
Yeah, well, and for me, this one's going to be very controversial because it's been controversial since it happened because of weather. I'm going to go to NASCAR World, and I'm going to Cup, and I'm rolling with Justin Haley at number 1 strictly because, you know what, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. And I feel like, you know what, he took a Cup win. You can't argue with that. This guy's going to go down in the history books as a NASCAR Cup winner, regardless of what happens in the rest of his career. And yes, it was rain shortened. If it went the full length, do I really think he would have won? Absolutely not. But you know what? The facts are he did win. He took home the trophy. And because he caused so much turmoil, I got to roll with Haley at number 2, Chris. And I want to know what you're thinking of that.
Jim, I mean, it's the fact of the matter is the person who runs to the rules and crosses the finish line first or is holding the lead when the rain is too much to, continue the race, that's the winner. And they played it perfectly. I mean, obviously controversial the way that it went down, not just because of being rain shortened, but drivers pitting when they thought that there was one to go, and then there no longer being one to go because lightning struck. And, sometimes things like that happen. But obviously great to see Justin Haley get a victory. I know that the year before he had a controversial pass below the yellow line in the Xfinity race and kind of had that robbed of him. But I think anybody would take a Cup win over an Xfinity win any day, so good on him. But number 1, I think we're going to have the same guy at number 1. I think it's a guy that has been our number 1 quite a few times this year. So shall I hand off the honors to you?
Yeah, well, how do you not have – he's won 7 of the last 8 races. Steve Torrence at number 1. Like, at this point, I just put Torrence at number 1, and then I fill out the rest of the bracket. Like, I hate to say that, but this guy, I mean, he's an ESPY nominee. He's absolutely the past 2 to 3 years destroyed the NHRA Top Fuel competition. I mean, he's breaking records weekly. I mean, his win tally just continues to go up, and he's one of the nicest, humblest humans on earth. Like, I don't know how Steve Torrence isn't on the top of your list. I mean, I think, the performance he's put down over the last 12 months, I would put him up as probably one of the greatest sports accomplishments in the past, like, couple of years with what he's accomplishing. I mean, this is crazy, Chris. I mean, insane, really.
I'm with you, Jim. It's not like it's Mercedes in Formula One where you can outspend pretty much everybody, and because that's not what them Capto boys are doing. I mean, they're just building some absolute hot rods. And the funny thing about New England, while I was there, they didn't actually make a proper pass down the strip on Friday or Saturday. Qualifying for them was basically just figuring things out.
Yeah, he smoked the tires, didn't he?
Yeah. Steve-O was 9th in the bracket.
Yeah.
Had to face somebody, Austin Prock. He didn't have lane choice. He had to he had to go beat people the hard way, and they managed to do that. They threw the gauntlet down in the first round, and they just spanked everybody from there. But I mean, I what you said about power rankings is just kind of how I feel about Top Fuel at this point. Just give Steve-O the Wally, and let's watch everybody else battle it out in the other 16 spots in the bracket, because then we'll at least get some different names on there. Man, I used to hate dominance like that as a kid, but watching Steve-O do it and knowing what he's gone through to get to that point, I think I just changed my whole opinion on dominance. And that's funny for me, being a New Englander and watching the Patriots growing up.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you were very fortunate. You didn't have to deal with the Cardinals like I did growing up.
Or God forbid the Browns.
Oh, yeah. That's, no matter how bad the Cardinals are, they were never Browns bad, right?
Nope.
Yeah, that is the honest to goodness truth there. But yeah, no, 1 through 5, I think we were probably pretty close. But always fun, Chris. I know we're up against a commercial break, so we gotta bow out early. But always fun, my friend.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me, Jim.
And we'll be back after this on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Anywhere is possible. It's more than just a slogan. Anywhere is possible with General Tire's wide variety of tires for whatever it is that you drive. Whether you're looking for off-road capability balanced with impressive on-road performance, or ultra-high performance offering all-season traction designed with a driving enthusiast in mind, General Tire has what you need to get where you're going. General Tire, providing anywhere is possible with the Down and Dirty Radio Show since 2012. Hey, this is Jim Beaver, host of the Down and Dirty Radio Show. Getting down and dirty on the racetrack is all fun and games until it's time to get the dirt off. I know it all too well, which is why I partnered with MotoShield Pro, the leaders in nanotechnology solutions on the racetrack and in off-road to combat mud and dirt buildup on my vehicles. MotoShield Pro keeps us from taking unnecessary damage and spending extra energy on cleaning. No matter the weather or the surface, having proper protection on all my vehicles saves me plenty of reprep time in a sport where every second counts. Prep your vehicle like a pro. Learn more at MotoShieldPro.com.
Like what you hear? Catch all the back episodes of the Down and Dirty Radio Show on Apple Podcast, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Jim Beaver here, along with my good friend Travis Pecoy, who is going to be in action in America's Rallycross this weekend in Gateway. I guess it's beautiful in beautiful Missouri. But anyways, welcome to the show, Travis.
Appreciate it. Glad to be here.
Yeah, no. So I know I was back there. I can't even remember, what was it, May now, and you guys were kind of hanging out there in Arpin's shop, getting everything ready to go. I know you were. I don't know. You're pretty excited, and we roll into that first round, and bam, right out of the box, dude, a podium. Like, I don't know what your expectations were going into this year, but to be able to pull a podium in your first race this season, man, that had to feel pretty damn good.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, my expectations were, not that high because I don't really know what to expect. I didn't know. I had nothing to compare the cars to. I didn't know what to compare Steve to. I just went in there like an open book and came out second. So it was really, really awesome.
Yeah, well, and that being said, you got you do have Steve there. This guy's a veteran of Rallycross, been around for a while. I mean, How is it having a guy like that who's taking wins? I mean, he's there in the championship hunt every year. Like, being able to pick that dude's brain, because you're like me. You come from, West Coast, kind of an off-road background. Like, I mean, I've been in rallycross cars before, dude. Like, it's a complete switch, and everything you think you know about driving, it goes out the window with rallycross, man. I mean, how's that been having him there to be able to, kind of pick his brain?
Definitely. He's just made the transition so easy because going from lights to supercars is one thing. It's really just like so much easier. And people are surprised when I say that, but the cars just it's a proper race car. So everything works right, and especially the guys on the low and road team, dude. They're so good and fine tuned with these machines that they know exactly how to make it fast. But yeah, like you said, coming from off-road, it was funny because my first test in a lights car, or like my first couple tests, were strictly like pavement, and like they wanted me to get my pavement speed up because they just expected me to be real fast in the dirt. But I'd never driven anything like low traction all-wheel drive in the dirt before, so the first race I was like killing it on the pavement, like I was doing good, but in the dirt section, like I was slower than everybody, and they were like, why is my dirt guy the slowest in the dirt? Because it was such a transition.
Yeah, well, that's what's funny about these cars too, and I know, especially the lights cars. Talk about that transition. We'll jump back to what you were just saying in a minute, but like I know, like almost supercars. I haven't driven a supercar. I've only driven lights cars, but it could almost like spoil you, right? Because I know like the lights cars, dude, they're all momentum based, and like if you kind of screw up, like it hurts you for like another corner or something, because it's like, bam, the thing falls on its face, and you're having to, you've got to kind of regain that. I feel like supercars, in a sense, you can make a little bit of a mistake, and you've got the power and stuff there to kind of bail you out of it, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's more like the power, all the power in the supercar, you're not using like not even probably 60% of the track. You're only pushing it hard in the straightaways, but it's like a lights car. Like you said, if you make like a little mistake or catch a rut or something, like it takes a while for it to pick back up. But honestly, like I feel like the major difference in driving style going from a lights to a supercar is in a lights car, I was always the fastest when I was like all hot, driving aggressively and like as hard as I could. And a supercar is way faster if you're just, calm and slow and like and smooth, because it's so easy to spin all the tires on it. So
yeah,
so when you're spinning tires, you're not going nowhere.
Yeah, and when you transitioned into like you were talking about first time we were testing rallycross cars and stuff like that. If you were like me, dude, like I went into that first corner and it was full on like desert or short course style. I was backing the car in, just like, dude, big old slide. I'm like, dude, this is awesome. And I've got Patrick Sandell in the co-driver's seat. And he's like, dude, this doesn't work, man. He's like, dude, it was like full on, like, I had that thing backed in, and I'm sure it looked rad as hell, but dude, it was so like, they're like, yeah, this is not how you drive this car.
Oh yeah, same way, because I couldn't turn. Like every time I turned in the dirt, I would go. It was in Phoenix, and at the GRC race in Phoenix. And I'd turn onto the dirt, and I just pushed straight off the track. They even had like cones on the outside, like so far out there that they knew nobody's gonna hit. And sure enough, I like pushed all the way off the track, smoked all the cones, and the only way I could get the thing to go around the corner on the outside was, like you were saying, ripping the e-brake way before and just like slam the throttle and just drifting the whole corner.
Oh, that's too funny. Well, talking about off-road, man, we'll jump back to rallycross and the race this weekend here in a minute. But talking about off-road, I know your dad. He's been killing it in the desert. Any chance? Obviously, you're pretty dedicated right now. I mean, you're running a supercar and ARX. Like, I mean, this is you're living the dream here. But any chance we see you pop back into the off-road circle at some point, or you pretty happy just kind of seeing where this whole rallycross thing takes you?
Yeah, I mean, right now I'm pretty focused on the rallycross deal, and my dad's obviously focused on their run. They didn't do as well as in the 500, but they have a really strong truck, and they've been running really good. So he's he's excited, and I'm excited for my program. So right now, I think it's just better that we focus on our stuff. But I mean, anything can happen. If I'm home and they're going to test in Barca or something, then I'll go jump in the truck or whatnot. He has no problem with that.
Yeah. So you're living pretty much full time in Charlotte now, right? I know you're hanging around the shop, and you were there in May and stuff like that. Are you kind of splitting your time between SoCal and Charlotte, or are you kind of just a transplant to Charlotte now?
No, I'm pretty much staying in Southern California for one more week, and then I'm moving out to Phoenix.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm going back and forth from Charlotte just to say up to the guys and hang out, and Charlotte's where the racing's at, so
yeah,
definitely got to be around that scene.
Yeah. Well, talking about ARX, obviously this weekend we got Gateway on tap. I mean, this is it's one thing I like about ARX. Anybody that did GRC in the past, it's all new tracks for the most part. You know what I mean? You got to relearn everything. Obviously, Gateway this weekend, man. What can you tell us about this track? How are you getting prepared? Obviously, coming off a big podium. I mean, you guys want to keep the momentum there. Steve on the podium as well. I mean, you guys got You guys, you got the momentum rolling into this weekend, man. What have you guys been doing to prepare? I know Steve. I know he's been doing some testing and stuff like that. What's the lowdown this weekend, buddy?
Basically just running the sim. Keeping my rallycross seat time up because can't really test the cars in between races. But I mean, there is a test on. Before the race, actually, they made a test day on the track because nobody's driven on this track before. Nobody really knows what to expect. But they made a test day on Thursday. So we'll go out there, we'll run all day on the track, and then we'll gather all the data and go over it Friday, and then race Saturday, Sunday. So I'm excited. I know Steve's excited because we have all this momentum rolling into it, but I just can't wait.
But yeah, Gateway this weekend, man. Obviously, you're sitting there, dude. I mean, I don't even want to talk about this, but we got this points thing, and obviously ARX season isn't crazy long, man. I mean, obviously you're sitting there, you did what you needed to do the first round, looking at the rest of the season. I mean, what do you need to do? Is it all about consistency, man? Is that what are you really wanting to go for that race win, or are you kind of sit back and be like, hey, we just need to score points, man, be around the podium every single round?
Yeah, for sure. It's really just staying consistent through all of them. Like I finished second in the final, but I don't even think I'm top 3 in points. I believe I'm 5th in points because of all the qualifiers and all the stuff like that. Because our 2-day test, which was really like a 1.5 for me, it wasn't enough time for me to get my starts perfect. And if you watch my qualifiers from Mid-Ohio, you could see it takes me until Q3 to figure out how to start the thing. And sorry, I'm a little stuffy, I was racing from coming back from a 10 car length drop just off the start. So I know I'm better in the seat myself now, and I'll be more consistent off the bat. So that's what I've been focusing on, really, is just staying consistent finishes in the qualifying heats and as fast as I can go, because that's where all the points are accumulated. It's not all in the final. It's all pretty much spread out over the 4 qualifiers and semi in the final.
Yeah, that's crazy, the way the points shake out. But I didn't even think about that in the starts, but I know that's just kind of been the theme of things with Rallycross over the years. You get a start and, you get a good start and, it's definitely a whole lot easier. You miss that drop and it's like, man, you're fighting from the back the entire time. But that's got to make you feel good that knowing you kind of struggled with starts and, and your car was able to battle back, that you guys have that good of a car this year, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, that's what I was saying. I didn't know what to expect with the cars because, the past couple of years, it's pretty much been or not even couple, the past 5 years, it's been a Volkswagen domination. So, I think we definitely have a car that is, extremely competitive. Our lap times were the same as the Subarus and the Volkswagens. Like, we just couldn't, I just couldn't get there. But I think this next race coming in, ready to go from the beginning, I think we'll be able to get there.
Nice. Well, good luck this weekend at Gateway, my friend. I know we'll be tuned in, watching what unfolds out there. And, best of luck, and we'll chat soon, buddy.
Right on. Appreciate it.
And we'll be back with more after this on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty Radio Show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it. So when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our Razor vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of Razor vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a Razor 170 like me, take the entire family out in a Razor XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new Razor XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris Razor. Check out the full Polaris Razor lineup at Polaris.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor. Your life demands a tire that provides durability, comfort, and performance, and that's what General Tire delivers for you. From the all-season grip of the Grabber UHP to the comfort and on-road manners of the Grabber HTS to the durability and off-road traction of the Grabber AT2, General has a tire that will help get you where you need to go. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible, because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out visionwheel.com or at Vision Wheel on social media to learn more.
Like what you hear? Catch all the back episodes of the Down and Dirty Radio Show on Apple Podcast, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. I know a little bit different format for those of you that are weekly listeners. It's because this one isn't quite hitting national syndication. Had some stuff come up, and I gotta roll with it. So a little bit different format. Still packed a bunch of great interviews into the show. A little bit less chit chat than we normally have, but still some rock solid interviews. So thank you guys for tuning in. Also, make sure and check out the off-road edition. Had my good friend Al Macbeth on there. Brought to you by 4 Wheel Parts. Great interview with Razor long jump extraordinaire Al, and also a factory Polaris Razor guy. And then we've also got Jason freaking Ellis on the podcast this week on Project Action. So go over to iTunes, hit the subscribe button, rate, review, all that good stuff. Follow me at JimBeaver15 on social media, and check out all our web content at downanddirtyshow.com. Big shout out to Polaris Razor, General Tire, 4 Wheel Parts, MyMedic.com, Vision Wheel, Gibson Exhaust, Dirtfish, Blue Otter Resort and Casino, Moto Shield Pro, Impact Racing, and all our supporters. Don't forget, use the coupon code JBDirtfish. That'll get you 15% off at Dirtfish Rally School. And MyMedic, use the coupon code JimBeaver. That'll get you 15% off the best damn first aid kits on the market right there at MyMedic.com. Great racing coming up this weekend. Hopefully you guys are tuning in. I will be back to a normal schedule next week. Thanks to you guys for all the support, continued support of the show. We're inching ever so close to that episode number 400. We got some big stuff planned for that. But once again, make sure and go check out that Jason Ellis interview. Good stuff on Project Action. All right, we will see you guys next week. Have a great weekend. Be safe. As always, game on.